A recurring theme when visiting the Oregon coast is erosion. It plays a big part in making these landmarks uniquely photogenic and also dangerous. Dangerous is an understatement at parts of Cape Kiwanda where many lives have been unnecessarily lost. This journey begins on the northern Oregon coast at Pacific City. Cape Kiwanda is a state natural area, which is basically a scenic version of a state park. The Cape has a steep sand dune and some eroded sandstone formations. It is the only big sandstone headland in Oregon, while all the others are made up of basalt. The state natural area is mostly accessed from Pacific City Beach. This is a very popular spot and a favorite for surfing and fishing. It's right in town and accessible, with Pelican Brewery sitting right against the beach. It's a carefree place with a lot of fun going on, but it's also the starting point of many injuries and even deaths. The crowds from Pacific City Beach dwindle down towards Cape Kiwanda due to the obstacle of a steep sand dune. I read about some sinkholes that formed at Cape Kiwanda, so I set out to hike up the dune and view them. I felt a little overprepared compared to everyone else with nothing more than the clothes on their back. Here I was with pants and long sleeves for sun protection and hiking boots. Boots aren't great for sand, but a lot of dead people would have benefited from having the extra grip on the cliffs above. I also had a backpack with food, water, a first aid kit, and other helpful supplies that always live in my bag. Many lives have been lost here, so why not take the extra precaution? Once at the top, you get some views of the dramatic cliffs and erosion at Cape Kiwanda. Most of our coastal headlands are basalt, which is the darker and harder volcanic rock. Cape Kiwanda is sandstone, which is very soft and more susceptible to erosion. Some of this big sandstone formation still stands against the force of the ocean. Many geologists agree that this is thanks to the big basalt rock that has blocked some of the ocean's force for millions of years. The big formation is mostly known as Haystack Rock, due to being the shape of a haystack. There are two other haystack rocks in Oregon, one in Cannon Beach and one in Bandon. These rocks sharing the same name causes a lot of confusion, so I like to use the other name for this one, Chief Kiwanda Rock. Chief Kiwanda was a well-known chief of the local Nestuka tribe. Over time, immigrants transformed the name of the cape from Kiwanda into Kiwanda. Some studies indicate that the rock was once much larger and connected to the cape. Everything at the coast erodes eventually, but Kiwanda Rock protected much of this place for us to be able to see it today. With the shrinking of this guardian rock and a changing climate, we are seeing Cape Kiwanda fall apart. Cape Kiwanda was in the news recently because of a big circular sinkhole that suddenly appeared. Towards a cliff edge, one big sinkhole appeared, and later another right next to it. These came to be from waves eroding the weak sandstone of Cape Kiwanda. Caves go right underneath the sinkholes, and at some point the cave got so big that the ceiling couldn't hold all the sand and sandstone above. News of the sinkholes drew me to this area, and I thought I would be making a video all about the two sinkholes themselves. Interesting geology is usually ancient, and it's rare to have things form in our lifetimes. Due to all the new safety fences, I couldn't get a view of the sinkholes on foot at all. Going beyond the fences is exactly how people get into dangerous situations at Cape Kiwanda. But you know what they say, right? Why risk your life for a picture when you have a flying camera? Sometime after their formation, the sinkholes had been naturally filled with sand. Sinkholes are a more interesting and dramatic form of erosion, but erosion is happening quickly at this soft sandstone cape. These sinkholes will empty at some point again, and it's hard to say exactly when that will happen. Seeing the footprints means that people either don't know or don't care about the dangers of the sinkholes. Disregard for warnings, fences, and safety is a common problem at Cape Kiwanda. One rock was not taken by erosion, and it was known as duckbill or pedestal. Vandals decided they would go past the safety fences and take down the popular photo spot. According to them, they were taking down a safety hazard, but it was already behind a fence. The vandalism took place in late 2016, which was a dark time for Cape Kiwanda. 5 people had died here in the year before the rock was vandalized. After finding that the sinkholes had filled in, my focus shifted to the dangers of Cape Kiwanda. The fences and signs at every cliff edge indicated that the changing landscape was responsible for these dangers. Erosion combined with a disregard for warnings and safety has caused a lot of accidents here. Many people were carefree and even jumping the fences. You wouldn't guess that death was a common occurrence. Many of the accidents happened in this area called the Punch Bowl, not to be confused with Devil's Punch Bowl, which is 30 miles to the south. The sandstone rock can break apart at any time and can be slippery even when dry. Various injuries from falls happen, and ending up in the ocean after a fall is a deadly combination. Oregon State Parks Department, Coast Guard, and Search and Rescue spend a lot of time at Cape Kiwanda. Expensive and dangerous rescue missions are mostly successful, while some turn into body recovery missions. Heroes come to risk their lives to save people that should not have been in these situations in the first place. The many deaths and injuries have not stopped people from taking the same risks every year. Just this year in 2023, a Californian named Henry Min Hoang went past the fence and slipped. His fall knocked him unconscious, then he was swept into the ocean and died. Most Cape Kiwanda deaths resulted from going to the areas beyond these fences. People will continue to ignore any warning, risking their life just for a nice view or a picture. Everyone thinks it couldn't happen to them, but that's exactly what people were thinking before they died. As the rock erodes and changes, places that were once considered safe may not be any longer. It was interesting to see so many people jumping the fences and doing exactly what the people that died tried to do. Maybe I shouldn't be one to talk, considering I regularly climb mountains made up of crumbly rock. People don't like to be told what to do, but they cause a burden on others, like rescue efforts and adding signs and fences to a place that could be left natural. I was glad that the sinkholes filled and my story changed to some more important aspects of Cape Kiwanda. Cape Kiwanda is falling apart due to erosion and even a little human-caused destruction. The changes can be observed in a safe way, but not everyone chooses to do so. Fences, warnings, and other attempts to keep people safe will continue to be made and improved. Despite any efforts made, death and erosion will always be part of the story of Cape Kiwanda.